Hey, this is Chris from Harm's Way, and you're listening to the Metal Teddy Bear Experience with Chris.
Welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is your host, Chris, the Metal Teddy Bear Experience. I'm here with Chris of Harm's Way. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? It's going well. Just here in New Jersey, trying not to sweat away.
I know we're at New Jersey Vans Warped Tour right now. It is extremely hot outside, probably almost 90 degrees. A lot of sunscreen being put on today. But now we're nice air conditioned in the press area, so we're lucked out. But for you, this is the last Warped Tour. Have you been able to play Warped Tour before?
This is our first time on the Warped Tour, and obviously this is our last time with it being the last cross-country run on the tour. But yeah, first time. So far, so good. Can't complain.
Good. And you guys had a pretty good crowd reaction. I got to catch half your set because I had to go stop to interview Dayseeker. You into those guys at all?
It's been my first time coming into contact with them and being exposed to their music. They're playing the same stage as us. They seem like really cool dudes and are just really really bringing a good show every day on this tour.
The reason I mentioned that is because I feel like you guys would Harm's Way and Dayseeker would be a pretty good tour. Two bands support and headline. I think you guys would be pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I think they very diverse sort of sound with kind of like heavy mixed with kind of melodic stuff. They're definitely a cool band.
Is there any other bands that you've been checking out on Warped Tour lately? In your free time?
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of branch out or kind of check out bands outside your stage. But when I can, I try to check out Knuckle Puck, another band from Chicago. Movements is cool. On our stage we have friends like Unearth and Every Time I Die, who are also on the Mutant White Lightning stage. So yeah, those are just some bands I try to check out every day.
It's like the heavy stage right there.
Yeah. It's like the monster stages are like definitely like the heavier, more metallic stages. Which is the one that we're on. Yeah,
those are the stages I keep going to, I noticed.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking about your latest album, it came out in February, right? Posthuman?
Yeah, February.
Yeah, and that was your first album through Metal Blade?
Correct, yeah.
How has it been so far working with Metal Blade?
It's been awesome, obviously.
I think Brian's out, right?
Yeah, Brian's here. It's been cool to, kick it with him and, see a familiar face in New Jersey. So yeah, working with them has been awesome. Obviously, as a label, they have a long history in kind of the extreme, kind of aggressive music sort of world. So to be a part of that kind of, to be a part of the Metal Blade family was a dream come true for us. And so far, it's been really awesome working with the label. There's been kind of endless support, and it's definitely pushed our band in front of a lot of new faces, a lot of new listeners. So yeah, it's been cool.
I feel like Metal Blade and Sumerian are like one of the big labels that cater to like new upcoming bands.
Yeah.
Like or just like this kind of day and age kind of genre.
For sure.
Where I feel like Nuclear Blast is pretty big, but it has all the big names from like they've been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like Metal Blade is like a perfect label for you guys.
Yeah. Obviously, they have a long history with awesome bands like Cannibal Corpse and King Diamond, to a lot of like newer bands, like up and coming bands, young bands like us, and so yeah, it's definitely been a really cool fit for us.
And this album was produced by Will Putney, right?
Yeah.
Dude, how was it working? That's the for anyone who doesn't know, that's the guitarist in Fit for an Autopsy, and he is killer. I love Fit for an Autopsy, and when I found out he produced your band, it made so much sense.
For sure.
Even live, you guys have like a level of thickness. Like, is that like, do you like layer your guitars or anything like that, or is it just like?
Yeah.
You guys are definitely like, I know it sounds weird, the thickest today on the stage, but there's like a really heavy sound coming from you guys.
Yeah, for sure. We use amplifiers still, and that's kind of one thing that really sets us apart from a lot of bands on Warped Tour. There's a lot of bands that are just kind of going through front of house, modulators, stuff like that. We're a band that we don't use tracks, we don't use any like crazy production that kind of fake the live show. We're going through amps, we're playing everything live every day, so we're using amps and whatnot. So it's you're not the first person who's kind of mentioned that to us, that like, hey, like you guys sound like a lot thicker, a lot heavier than like a lot of the bands on your stage. Like, why is that? And I was like, well, I think because we're actually using cabs and tube heads.
Because I didn't know how, like, I was talking to my friends too. I was like, dude, like, I don't know how else to say, but it's thick, you know? It's like full too, but like, I don't know, it's that level, like, especially when you guys opened up with your first song.
For sure.
I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I felt it like right there.
Yeah, for sure. And even with like all the industrial stuff that is, you know, part of our live show, part of our sound, you know, that's not a backing track that's getting triggered. You know, that's something that we're making happen live, you know, that we're controlling. So, yeah, we try to still keep it, you know, pretty punk, pretty organic, pretty real. Whereas a lot of bands on Warped Tour, you know, they kind of have a lot of, not to talk crap or anything, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes to kind of make their live show happen.
Well, I heard a lot of that is because they don't want to, they're trying to remove error.
For sure.
Like, it makes it a lot easier for them to, like, play their show.
Right.
Just play it smoothly. But, like, I forgot what band it was, but I saw them at Starland Ballroom. They were, like, one of the opening bands, and they used, like, a backing track.
Yeah.
And the drummer messed up, so they had to start over. But they had, like, they couldn't just start from that spot. They had to start all the way over again because they had the backing track.
Yeah.
So, like, they were halfway through the song and went back, and I thought that was the weirdest thing.
Yeah. It's, you know, it could definitely, I mean, if you're not well rehearsed, if you're not comfortable with kind of being able to hit the space bar on your laptop and run Ableton, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna, you know, you may hit some kind of bumps in the road, and that could really kind of throw off the live show.
Do you guys use Ableton?
You know, we use Ableton for a lot of like our programming stuff.
Yeah.
With a lot, you know, with the industrial stuff, the electronic stuff that we utilize as part of our sound. But live, we're not running Ableton or anything like that.
Yeah, I was just curious about Ableton because there's a lot of bands that have been using Pro Tools and Ableton and all stuff. And in Montclair, we got to use Ableton. We had like a MIDI class.
Oh, cool.
We actually got to make our own tracks and stuff in Ableton.
That's awesome.
It's really awesome. And,
yeah.
It's really complex too. Do you use it or do you just
use it? So a couple guys in the band are well versed in Ableton. So they're kind of they're the ones who are kind of spearheading some of that stuff. Yeah, like our bass player Casey, you know, he does a lot of like the industrial production for us. So
cool. Yeah. So I know it's early. The album just came out in February.
Yeah.
But are you working on anything new? Right? Because I know like there's some people like I was talking to Des from Devil Driver, and he said he wakes up and he just writes 2 songs. Yeah. Like he always has music coming. And he was talking about how bands should be putting out albums every 15 to 18 months. Did you see that anywhere on the headlines?
No, I didn't see that, but I mean, I think there's some truth to that based on kind of the career path you want for your band and the trajectory you want for your band, you know. But yeah, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was pretty
interview.
recent. I got to talk to him last week about it.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, he was just saying that bands have been waiting like 3-4 years to put out albums. And then some bigger bands, you know, take longer. He's like, but 15, 18 months, he's like, bands got to stay relevant. They got to keep putting it out there. And I was interested, like, there's a lot of, like, back and forth. Some people are like, yeah, and some people are like, no, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, how do you guys think in Harm's Way?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's definitely a quality over quantity thing. You know, we've traditionally gone about 2 years per full length. And it's hard, you know, like, we're a working band, you know, a lot of us have jobs when we're home, and then we also tour our ass off too, you know, and we don't, you know, we're...
You guys have full-time jobs?
Yeah, a couple of us do, yeah. I'm a social worker, our singer's a teacher, you know. So we have full-time jobs, so like... And in addition to that, you know, we've been touring full-time since Posthuman came out, and we don't necessarily have, like, the luxury of being on a bus for every tour or anything like that. You know, like, when we're doing tours outside of Warped Tour, you know, we're in a van, you know, we're grinding it out, you know. We don't necessarily have the time or space to be able to, like, sit down, you know, plug into your MacBook and, like, record a new song, you know. It's a grind every day for us. So, you know, writing for us, we try to do it on tour, but like it's difficult, you know, and we really got to like set aside time when we're home between tours to make that stuff happen, you know. And that's why, you know, I think quality over quantity, especially for Harm's Way speaking, is, you know, like when we go into writing mode, we're like in hibernation, you know, like we'll take time off the road. We'll literally just set days out of the week that we're just writing, sitting down with each other, making stuff happen. But yeah, I you know, it's interesting to see also on the, you know, tours like this and bands like Devil Driver, you know what I mean? It's like, I think those are bands that like need to keep putting out new music, not necessarily for like content purposes, but because that they can continue to tour, you know.
Yeah.
You can only do so many tours on a record cycle, right? And given the way the music industry is kind of organized now, is like bands are making most of their money not off royalties off records, but off tours, right? Off T-shirt sales, off the door, you know. So in order to be able to keep coming back to a city, you have to have new music to play on, right? You can only do so many support tours, you can only do so many headline tours off a record. So I think, you know, for the vitality of certain bands, like they, especially who are relying on this as a career, as a paycheck, you know what I mean? Like they need to have new music out so people are maintaining interest, who are still going to come out to the shows, pack out clubs, pack out wherever they're playing, so that they can continue to like put food on the table.
I've been really interested in like the business side of like, you know, events, because like I'm obviously not in that, so I want to know.
For sure.
So because you know everything's about, not everything's about, but like a lot of things are moving towards streams and stuff. A lot of places aren't selling like albums anymore, like Best Buy.
Right.
Like the only place you can get is like FYE now. But yeah. Anyway, do you think that streaming has like really helped your band Harm's Way, or do you think that it's hurt you? Like, how do you view it?
I think it's definitely helped us. You know,
Money wise or exposure?
Exposure. You know, I think obviously, you know, people. I'm sure, you know, it's well known that like kind of the artist deals with Spotify and other streaming services are like kind of crappy, you know, but the exposure piece is huge, you know. It's like, and we've seen it on this tour, you know, just like every show, you know, we're getting more Spotify followers or listeners, you know, like we're seeing album sales go up on Apple, on like iTunes and stuff like that, you know. It's the accessibility is there if someone doesn't have to wait to order a record, or like, you know. But you know, we're also still like a hardcore band too, so like vinyl is also like bread and butter for us. Like, you know, when we have a record come out, vinyl sales are typically really good. There's like a loyalty in punk and hardcore to people like purchasing vinyl. But as far as like streams, you know, it's definitely, you know, it's helped us chart more because it's more accessible. It's helped us get us more listeners and stuff like that. But as far as financially, you know, we haven't seen a huge kind of bounce back from it.
Yeah. No, I was just curious about that because some bands are like, no, it's pointless, and some bands are like, no, it's great for us. Like, we love it.
Yeah. I think for a smaller band like us, especially with Posthuman and being on Metal Blade, it's the streaming numbers have been great, and it's definitely helped us grow.
Metal Blade's been pushing you guys a lot, at least in the radio realm.
Yeah.
Where I am, when they like push ads or whatever like that, you're always on the email.
That's awesome.
Way, like Posthuman, like you guys are always there. That's actually how I found out about you guys.
Oh, cool.
Through Metal Blade, and you guys like what was, I think Sync was the single.
Yeah.
First, right.
It may have been one of the Sync was I think
that
it
was
was
the one that really got me. I was like, holy crap.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, so you're like a point in case kind of scenario that like the Metal Blade thing, like, you know, it definitely, you know, it kind of lured you in, or kind of, you know, reeled you in as like, you know, a way to check out the band. So
fun
cool.
fact, I was actually showing my bands because I was like, oh, I might interview Harm's Way. Like, who's that?
Yeah.
So I was showing them on the way here, and they're like, oh shit. So they actually went to go see you guys too.
Awesome.
So during my show, I asked 3 random silly questions. You ready to take part in that?
Sure.
All right. Question number 1 is ice cream cake an actual cake, or is it just ice cream in the shape of a cake?
It's hard to say. I mean, I would say an ice cream cake is a cake because you got to look at the function of a cake, right? It's not simply just a piece of food. There's so much symbolism to the cake. It's a celebration, right?
Yeah.
It's a birthday. It's a wedding. It's whatever, right? So regardless if it's frozen or not, if it's ice cream or if it's regular cake, right? If a cake is a cake, and it's all about the function and the celebration and whatever event that piece of food or whatever is symbolizing. So I would say an ice cream cake is a cake.
Thank you. See, I'm on the argument that it is. Because this is like one of those stupid arguments, you know, you probably have them with your friends or band, you know, the stupid arguments in the group. So this is one of them, so I've been asking bands about it now, and I never actually heard that argument before. Right on. Yeah, people are just like, it's a cake that has ice cream in it, and some people are like, no, cake needs bread and like, you know, batter. And,
yeah.
But
no, man, it's symbolically a cake, ice cream or not. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Another point for me.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 2. What is something that you would take out of your daily routine?
Something I would take out of my daily routine. it would probably be like checking my phone first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? It's like my alarm goes off and I sit there and I just like read NPR, look at Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You know what I mean? Before I actually like get up and like start my day. You know,
Yeah.
I don't like that I'm that anchored to technology as soon as I wake up. So if I could like rid myself from being so glued to my phone first thing in the morning, I'd probably do that.
Well, it's even more so because you're in a band. You have to like promote yourself a little bit, right?
Yeah, right.
All that.
And like I find myself doing it even more now because on Warped Tour, it's like you wake up relatively early. You got to find out when you're playing, when catering
You post
it.
that online too, right?
Yeah, you know, and then you got to like kind of hit your socials to like, you know, push what time you're playing, what time you're doing a signing, whatever, you know.
I love when bands do that because like we were running late and I'm like, I hope I'm not missing one of my bands.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And it's like, you know, it's a coin flip, you know. It's a roll of the dice when you're going to play each day, you know.
Yeah.
It's truly unknown, you know, until several hours before doors, you know. So yeah, like I'm even more married to my phone on this tour than I probably have been in previous ones.
Question number 3: what album would you make into a movie, and who would you have star in it? It could be your album. It could be someone else's album.
Oh man, what album would I make into a movie? Yeah, let me think about that for a second.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay, I think I know the album, and I'm thinking about who I want to star in it. Man, okay, I got the album. So I'm thinking like I would love to see like Radiohead's Kid A turned into a movie. You know.
Is there like a concept behind that album, or is it just good songs?
I mean, just like musically, and like I more so associate that album with like when I heard it for the first time in my life, you know, and just like that season of life I was in, and
Nostalgia?
like, yeah, for sure. I was in college, 2007, you know, and just getting in the Radiohead, like going through all the deep cuts. So like, yeah, I think about Kid A, and who would I want to star in that film? I don't know. You know, I think of like actors like Jake Gyllenhaal or something, like somebody like from like the Donnie Darko world, because like when I think of Radiohead, I think of that album. I think of like, you know, that style of movie kind of being kind of produced with that record.
I was actually about to say that too,
Yeah.
because I asked Blake from Between the Bear and Me what
Uh-huh.
album he picked, and he picked his own album, Coma Ecliptic, and he was at Jake Gyllenhaal. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think he just watched Nightcrawler. Is that the name of the movie?
Nightcrawler, yeah,
that's
yeah.
He's the he
Great
just
film,
watched that, yeah.
amazing film, yeah. So like I feel like he can really captivate like that sort of role, you know,
Yeah.
that would kind of really I don't know, just really show, you know, what Kid A is about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so that was the random silly question segment. Thank you for
Yeah.
participating in that.
for sure.
All right, so Warped Tour is going to be over in like another month, right? I think because it's been going on for a month now, right?
Yeah, it ends.
Or are you guys cutting off earlier?
Yeah, so it ends August 5th or 6th, I believe. We actually cut out on the 23rd in Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we kind of missed like the last 10 days just due to like some routing stuff for future tours we have coming up. So, yeah, so we kind of hop off before it hits the South.
So what do you have planned after that? You said future tours and whatnot?
Oh, so we go to Europe in August with a band called Sanction from New York.
You headlining?
Yeah. So it's a headline tour to kind of promote Posthuman. So Sanctions on it, and a band called Renounced from the UK. And then we come home from that. We have a couple support tours coming up that I can't delve into yet, just for like announcement purposes.
Of course, yeah.
But we'll be all over the U.S. come the fall. Followed up by some pretty heavy international touring. We'll be going to Southeast Asia, Australia, Japan,
Wow, those
all
are
that
some-
stuff,
yeah.
and probably back to Europe in 2019.
All right, cool.
So, yeah.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time out to do this interview.
Yes, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.